This is D from Grind Mode Worldwide Radio. These are all OMG on my grind interviews. We're down here at the, and we're gonna keep that. We're down here at the Tackle What's Next cause. Down here in Miami, Florida. We got Bricks Baby here, man. We're gonna ask him a couple questions. Tell him about yourself, Bricks.
You already know, man. Artist with Grind Mode, 40 gang, never settle for defeat. DJ, entrepreneur, social media influence. You already know, man. We're doing big things in Miami. We're doing big things in 2020 period. We're doing big things in life.
What's your definition of purpose, my brother?
Man, definition of purpose, I have to say, man, just out here grinding, man. Just doing my thing, hard, and that's it, man.
How do you find your life's true purpose?
I had to say, man, just from within, just, whatever my heart tells me to do, man, just, like I said, just following the grind.
My man, so with one word you could use to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
I had to say, I had to put two words. Let me say risk taker, or I had to say risk.
Risk taker is one word. It's hyphenated.
You know what I'm saying? Hyphenated. But I just say that because I always take risks to gain better success.
Word. Well, here we have Bricks Baby. Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms. Shout out Tackle What's Next down here at the We Working building, Miami, Florida, making it happen. All right. So, welcome to OMG On My Grind live interviews. We are here with former WNBA superstar Carolyn Moose. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. My name is Carolyn Moose. I played USA basketball, played for Stanford University, and professionally via the WNBA. And my passion really is fitness, health, and nutrition. I have my own website, fitforlivinglife.com. It's about health and wellness for longevity. D1 athletes looking to go pro, student athletes looking to make their varsity team. I work with pregnant mothers, obese patients, a vast array of demographics, but it's all about fitness, nutrition, online yoga. You can actually work out with me from anywhere in the world. So you can check that out.
Online yoga,
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, virtual and pre-recorded. So essentially it could be virtual live, real time, or pre-recorded recorded from the comfort of your own home.
Sweet. So what is your definition of purpose?
Purpose is passion, and purpose is impact. Purpose is legacy, imprint, and everlasting change.
Okay.
To me, if you don't have a calling in this world, you haven't found your gift. And I think unique gifts come from a sense of introspection.
All right.
And if you're able to identify what your unique gift is to the world, you found the reason you're here. For me, changing people's lives through health and wellness is huge. I personally don't drink, I don't do drugs, I've been that way my whole life. Mm-hmm. I've been able to change not only regular quote people, but professional athletes that have lost their way.
Right.
Transitioning athletes that no longer work out, or transitioning athletes that need to eat cleaner. But I really care about helping people. I also work with students, so 5th through 8th graders that want to make that varsity team, or D1 players that want to go pro, and that differentiating factor is how am I treating my body? Mm-hmm. Everything you put in your body, nutrition, water, sleep, workouts, all of that lends to who you're going to be 5 years out, 10, 15, 20 years out, and that's what I really care about.
Awesome. So being a female basketball player, how did you find your true purpose? So it seems like the sports was just the avenue to your true purpose.
Great question. Being 6'5", I'll be honest, I have a target on my back, and that's not a bad thing, but every time I walk in a room, obviously people are going to know I played. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to know I'm athletic. And I think with that being said, it didn't justify who I am.
Right.
Yes, I was 6 foot by 6th grade, but I never felt pressure to play just because of my height. I actually loved the game, getting back to passion. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important in life to identify what sets you apart, and I think I leverage the ability to have a strong presence by being 6'5" and people knowing, yes, she's a basketball player, and utilizing that to really care about changing others. So for me, it's the identifier of being a basketball player, being tall, being female, and happening to be a yoga instructor, and then the nutrition side it's really a unique combination.
Okay. All right. So if you had one word to describe yourself, what would that one word be and why?
One word is tough. I mean, I'm sure that's the response you're going to get from most people, but resourceful. And then I would say resilient, but you're not giving me two, so.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can elaborate if you'd like to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the reason I say resourceful and resilient is because, everybody has great accomplishments in their life. Everybody has adversity too. And being able to flip the script and change a direction in life is true for anybody. Whether you go through a loss, losing someone you love, having to make changes in your lifetime. So I think for me, if you don't have those coping mechanisms, all the rest is irrelevant.
So I think like the purpose of like what's next is doing in regards to like helping athletes start to prepare for that transition into life after professional sports. What do you think is some things that contributed to you being successful in that transition?
Identifying contribution is huge, and I think some people haven't tried work in other sectors, so they're uncomfortable starting off on something new. I actually started early in fitness, nutrition, health, and wellness way before I stopped playing professionally. I actually decided the year I graduated from Stanford that that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I was playing professionally and I became certified at the same time. So I had studied, took the exam, passed it, went off to play pro ball in France. And I started building up my side business while I was doing that, knowing I was going to move back to LA.
Going back to purpose, right? So you understood what your purpose was, and while you were playing, you were working in your purpose.
Exactly, and I think it's also a sense of contribution, getting back to that, and impact, and knowing that people valued what I had to give them. And it's really about people at the end of the day. If they see value and how you can make their life better one way or another, that's where your purpose lays.
Right. Well, there you have it, man. These are On My Grind official interviews. Shout out Plugstar PR for putting it together. And we appreciate you. We appreciate you. I think that you're doing some tremendous things. If anybody is out there that's watching, where could they find you? And your business and your online yoga.
So you want to visit www.fitforlivinglife.com. I also have a hot link off of there to Thinkific, and Thinkific is a platform for pre-recorded content.
Okay.
With that being said, is you can be anywhere in the world with the time change and be able to work with me. You can also contact me through that website or my last name, MOOS, at stanfordalumni.org. And that's really where everything is housed.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. We'll get this information out to you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome to OMG On My Grind Live interviews. Today we have Miss Lauren Faby in the building. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lauren Faby. I run a PR and marketing company where I help athletes scale their businesses. And I'm also, interestingly enough, an NCAA women's lacrosse official.
Wow, women's lacrosse official, and that's what our focus on is women's success in sports today. So I wanted to take a little bit of time just to give a little background, ask a couple questions about your business and some of the things that you do.
Sure.
What is your definition of purpose?
Oh gosh, so if you had asked me this question before I turned 40, I would have had a different answer.
Okay.
But since then, I got divorced. Found myself without a home, without a car, without a career, I was sort of at rock bottom. And so I actually went back to work. I hadn't worked in 15 years. I was raising a bunch of athletes, female athletes, and I couldn't pay their athletic bills. I couldn't pay their dues to keep them in their sports. So as all good mothers do, we do anything we can to put food on the table and everything. I started officiating sports so that I could do that.
Make some money.
And I turned out I loved it. And so fast forward, I now officiate every level of college, women's lacrosse, including college. So I'd say my purpose now is to show women that we can overcome pretty much anything.
Right. So you went from a dark place that helped you find a little bit of light, and then that opened up the doors for some other things. Talk about your PR firm and how you got into that.
Yeah, so basically, when I went back to work, I took an entry-level job, which led to a promotion, which led to a promotion, which led to a promotion. So I ended up doing some internal and external projects for Under Armour. They had a big project with Kaiser Permanente. which led me to do some independent projects. I focus mostly on communication projects.
Okay.
So
Can you explain
Sure.
what communication projects are for our listeners?
Sure. So,
For viewers, sorry.
right, that's okay. So if a company is going through any sort of customer journey initiative, which means they want to roll out a new product, they want to start a new program for their employees, I help them build all of that communication in so that all of the marketing and all of the PR activities tie back to the brand.
Okay.
And to simplify it so that their ideal customer can see the value of what they're offering.
Awesome. So, a random question off the grid. If you could go back in time and change one thing, what would it be? Or would you change nothing at all?
It's easy to pick something that I would change. I have to say, I missed my daughter's signing ceremony when she was in high school.
Okay.
Because I was at a point in my career where I felt like I couldn't take a half day.
Right.
And I needed the money. And looking back on it, I think I should have been more confident in my ability. And I think my boss would have understood. But, you know, I missed it. And I can't get the time back.
Right. So, what is your meaning of success?
Honestly, if I talk to each one of my kids a couple of times a week, and everyone, if we say I love you and they say I love you back, and they're happy, that to me is everything.
Awesome. So your success is attributed to just your overall nurturing.
My relationship with my kids.
That's beautiful. What would you attribute your success to in business? What would be your greatest success in business?
I would say my perseverance. I think what I've learned in all of the years, and I truly believe that my officiating has really brought me to a place in my work that I'm confident, I know what my strengths are, I know what my weaknesses are.
Right.
I'm willing to admit them. I'm willing to, if I have a project where one of my weaknesses is going to be exposed, I'll hire someone for that project and bring them in to help me. I feel like I've gotten to that point where I know exactly who I am in business and I know what I bring to the table.
Awesome. So with the Tackle What's Next initiative, helping athletes get prepared for life after professional sports, I think it's a beautiful thing. Can you kind of elaborate on why you felt it was necessary for you to partake in this event today?
Sure. Well, first of all, sports has given me a new lease on life, honestly. I could not have imagined, having raised my daughters as Division I prospects, and they went on to play sports in college. I became an NCAA official. I love being involved with the sports community. Anytime I have an opportunity to impart any knowledge I've learned in business that can help an athlete, I'm all for it.
Awesome. Well, we want to shout out Plugstar PR for putting together this opportunity. We want to shout out the Tackle What's Next organization and WeWork, and we appreciate you coming down. Where can people find your work, your business on social media platforms or websites?
Sure. It's www.laurenfaby.com, and I'm at LaurenBethFaby on Instagram.
Nice. Make sure you follow her. Make sure you check her out. Women in sports, success.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Reaction. All right. So, welcome to the OMG On My Grind Live interviews. The OMG Live interviews. We are here with my brother, Malcolm Lemons. Nice to meet you, my brother.
Pleasure to be here, man.
All right. Give them a little bit of introduction about you, what you do, your history. Let them know why you're here today.
For sure. So I'm a former professional basketball player. Played a couple years in Japan. Transitioned out of the game when I published my first book called Lessons from the Game, which basically highlighted my story as an athlete and some of the lessons that I took away from being an athlete. From there, I started a podcast called the Players Point Podcast, and to date, probably interviewed about 100 current and former athletes, getting them to really kind of just tell their stories and be transparent and open about some of the things that they've experienced as an athlete. Along with that, I also started a consulting company, so I work with athletes to help them leverage and build their personal brands to prepare for life after sports. So that's a little bit about me and what I've been working on and kind of what my overall mission is.
Awesome. So that kind of talks about, like, you kind of touch base on what the whole purpose of Tackle What's Next. Thank Tackle What's Next for having us available this evening. But why do you feel it's important to talk to athletes about preparing for life after sports?
I think it's critical because the transition is inevitable. You know, you're not going to be an athlete forever, and I think a lot of athletes need to have that understanding and to be prepared for that transition because it's going to happen whether you want it to or not.
Right.
And so when you get a jump on the ball, you actively put yourself in a position to where you can leverage your brand, leverage your platform, and have a understanding of what you want to do with your life going forward. It makes the transition a lot easier. And I think this event is, one resource, but there's tons of resources out there to help athletes nowadays. And athletes are being more empowered and educated on what it means to be more than an athlete. So it's a great time to be an athlete, and I think it's just critical to get a jump on the ball and to really prepare for it.
Why did you find it necessary for yourself to start that process while you were still an athlete?
So for me, it kind of happened serendipitously because, I was overseas, and being a professional basketball player overseas, you've got a lot of time on your hands.
Okay.
So I'm sitting in a room outside of Tokyo, Japan, and don't know my teammates that well, don't really know the city, but I have a laptop and with no Wi-Fi.
Right.
And so at that point, I had a lot of time to kind of self-reflect and think about what got me here. And then what would my life look like if basketball wasn't in the picture.
Right.
And so at that point, I just started to kind of journal, kind of reflect, and I used that time to really hone in on my story, hone in on what I've been through and how my story can impact other athletes. And long story short, that kind of manifested itself into my first book. So it really, I didn't have a plan. I really kind of just fell into the transition and saw another pathway for me outside of being an athlete. And I like to say I got lucky because, without that book and me kind of putting my story out there, I think the transition would have been a lot harder for myself.
Awesome. So what is your definition of success?
That's a great question. To me, success is doing what you love, making an impact on the people you care about, and doing it to the highest of your ability, and having the freedom to do so as well. To me, that's what success is really about. It's not about accolades or money or anything material. It's about having the ability to make an impact on the world your way, and really just loving what you're doing day in and day out.
So what would you consider to be your greatest success? Was it what you done as an athlete, or what you've done thereafter?
I think I haven't reached the peak of my potential, to be honest. But I think for right now, it's the impact that I made on the few athletes that I've worked with, that I've talked to, that I've provided feedback on or with. I think that to me is success. Is the impact and the difference that I made in somebody else's life, and how they're going to remember that going forward.
Right.
And I try to keep that at the forefront every day, is that I don't do this to make a lot of money. I don't do this to get recognition or titles, but it's really more so about what difference am I making in somebody else's life? How am I helping somebody else improve and get to where they want, and to really do what they want to do with their life. So that's what success is about to me.
That's awesome, and it also seems like it aligns with, well, what you're speaking on kind of aligns with purpose, right? And so you're in a process of finding your purpose. What do you think, or how did you find your true life's purpose?
So I think being an athlete and understanding that transition period, and really just reading and researching and seeing that this is a prevalent problem. Like athletes struggle with financial literacy, they struggle with career transitioning, they struggle with mental health, and being an advocate for that, and seeing that these are some of the things that I went through myself, and having, being able to empathize with athletes and having an understanding of how hard it really is. That's where I kind of found a purpose and a passion that intersected. which kind of just became my overall mission. So it was really, back to the book, kind of serendipitous that I've seen and heard the stories and understand that this is an issue and an issue that I just feel compelled to tackle.
Okay. So what do you feel was your biggest challenge that you had to overcome to get you here today?
That's a really good question as well. I would say that whenever you're trying to build something from the ground up on your own, it's really hard to kind of figure out what path to navigate.
Right.
I think that's been the hardest challenge for me. I've had to pivot in the past couple of years and just started my own company. And it's really still having that mindset, that athlete mindset and will that no matter how much I gotta adapt or change, I'm still gonna keep pushing on, and it's going back to your mission. But that's been a challenge for me, is trying to figure out really how to build something sustainable, how to build something meaningful at the same time, and how to make money with it.
Right.
And so that's been a challenge.
So what you're building, your podcast, let's speak on that. Let's just draw a little bit of light to, what's your podcast? How do people get on it? You spoke a little bit about the purpose, but you can get back into that as well.
For sure. So the Players Point podcast, as I said, interviewing current and former athletes, we talk about a variety of topics, really more conversational such as this, and really getting them to talk about, mental health, career transitioning, what does life after sports look like for them now, and all of these wide range of topics that, appeal and resonate with so many different athletes. And it's a good platform in that aspect, and I think it's made a lot of impact on people in the industry. So, I'm just doing my part, and you can find the podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, and I try to put out the content, really going back to that mission, is to make a difference, and hopefully the podcast has been able to do so.
Awesome. So if anybody was interested in being interviewed on your podcast, how would they get in touch with you?
So you can hit me up at Malcolm Lemons on every social media platform. I'm active, I'm responsive, or you can hit me up on my website, malcolmlemons.com, or shoot me an email at info@malcolmlemons. So I'm out there, and I'm open to talking to anybody and connecting with people. So.
Awesome. And you wrote a book. Tell them about your book and how they can get that.
Yeah, so Lessons from the Game, you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and I'm actually in the process of publishing my second book, which is set to come out in May, first and second week in May, which is called Impact Beyond the Game. So this is solely focused on helping athletes understand what their personal brand is about, understanding how to leverage it, how to monetize it, and how to carry it over and create a legacy with it. So that will be set to come out, and I'll be starting to do a lot of promotion around that in the next couple of weeks.
Word. For those of you who follow me, you know that word legacy is important. We do it for the last name. It's about what you leave behind, what you're going to be remembered as. So, my brother Malcolm, man, I appreciate you coming.
Man, I appreciate you.
Make sure y'all follow this guy. Check for his book. Definitely check for his podcast. Anybody want to shout out or anything like that?
Oh, shout out my mom.
There you go.
That's my rock right there. So shout out my whole family, man. They held me down through this transition. It really helped me figure out, what my life is going to look like going forward. So.
All right. Thank you, Tackle What's Next. Thank you, Plugstar PR, for the opportunity. And let's work.
Appreciate it, man.
So, welcome. We are here at the OMG On My Grind Live interviews with Miss Susan Sember. She is in the building, and she is going to talk to us about what she is into. Please introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Susan Sember, and I'm the executive producer and film director for the film Beyond the Game.
All right. And tell us about Beyond the Game.
Beyond the Game is a full-length feature documentary reviewing the careers of student athletes, professional athletes, retired athletes. We have 150 athletes from all different sports, rookies to Hall of Famers.
Awesome. So what caused you to do this documentary? What was your purpose?
There is such a need for information and awareness about transition, whether it be financial literacy, networking, education, and I felt that the resources were not available for the athletes.
Right.
And so I really wanted to do it as a means of education and outreach, but it's also entertaining.
Okay. So walk us through that process. How did the documentary come into go from just like, okay, it's just an idea, to I'm actually getting this thing rolling? Oh no, it's a thing now.
great question. My first career was as a lawyer, representing sports figures and entertainers, as well as a litigation attorney. And so I was familiar with the athletes and the entertainers in that venue. And then I partnered with some financial advisors that also had shown me the need, along with some agents. And I just started making the film. And 4 years later, here we are getting ready to roll it out. It's been exhausting, but great journey.
Awesome. So what strategy have you used personally, or what strategy have you used personally to help you reach this goal?
Well, there's a lot of transferable skills between being a lawyer and a filmmaker.
Okay. Connect those dots for the people.
Exactly. Well, for example, as a trial lawyer, when you put together your case, you have an opening, you have a closing, you put on expert witnesses, lay witnesses, you're storytelling, and you're trying to persuade a jury. In the same sense, in a documentary, you put on those same kind of elements, and you also want to impact your audiences.
Awesome. So what is your definition of purpose?
Anything with passion.
Okay.
I think it's really important for you to tap into your passion, and that will lead you to your purpose.
Awesome. So you started out as a lawyer. You're still a lawyer now, or?
Inactive.
Okay.
Recovering.
So, recovering lawyer, there you go. So you started out there and then you got into filmmaking. So how did you find your life's true purpose?
Well, my undergraduate degree from the University of Michigan is in radio, television, and film.
Okay.
And I saw the power of the media even when I was practicing law.
Right.
And how we can use it to educate, to inspire, to entertain. And I just got hooked.
Okay.
20 years later, here I am still doing documentary films, and I absolutely love it.
All right. And so how can our audience find you online?
BeyondTheGameFilm.com is the website. Instagram is @BeyondTheGameFilm. Twitter @SusanSember. Those are a few.
Keep it going. Is there any other?
Facebook.
There you go.
@BeyondTheGameFilm.
All right. So do you have a outlet where people can actually see it when it launches?
Right now we are negotiating various distribution, theatrical, broadcast, and streaming. We also have a college tour that is going to start with over 80 universities and colleges.
All right. Well, there you are. We are here with Miss Susan Sember. Beyond the Game, the documentary, coming soon. I think what you're doing is tremendous. Being able to help athletes be able to understand the reason why they need to prepare for life after sports. Why do you feel like that was a thing that you like? What was your personal connection to that, to step out of the legal area and into that, to kind of shed light on that?
Well, transition for any career person or any person in life is always a challenge. When I transitioned from being a lawyer to a filmmaker, that was a challenge. But it ended up being the best decision I ever made.
Right.
And so with athletes, I think often they don't really understand their true greatness. Even those with household names. And athletes are leaders. They can impact and make a difference in society. They can change the world. And I knew that. They find new nonprofits. They start businesses. They become social activists. So why not empower them? And that's what I hope this film will do.
That is beautiful. Thank you to Tackle What's Next for providing us with this opportunity. Thank you, Plugstar PR, for providing us this opportunity. Is anybody want to give any special shout outs to or anything like that?
To all the athletes in the film who have generously provided their time, Shaquille O'Neal, Floyd Little, Mike Ditka. I mean, I've got 150 names that I can say thank you to.
Right.
So I'm just very grateful that they wanted to share their mentorship and to also share their legacies with us.
Nice, nice. And one more time, just for our viewing audience, can you leave them with your social media and how to contact you if they were interested in seeing a documentary, getting information about the documentary?
Absolutely. Also, our red carpet premieres are coming up.
Yes.
So off the
Talk
red
about that
carpet,
too. Let's
off
go.
the red carpet at the Final Four, at the NFL Draft,
Nice.
at the NCAA baseball event in LA. We also have a premiere happening in Tampa and St. Petersburg. For more information, go to our website, beyondthegamefilm.com.
BeyondTheGameFilm.com with the man. I feel honored just sitting next to you, man.
Thanks. Come to the red carpet.
I'm going to show up.
All right.
And remember me when I get there. I'm going to be standing. I'm here. Because I will do the donkey on Shrek.
Okay.
Right here. Pick me. No, I'm just messing with you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your contribution as well to the athletes, man. I think again that's a very important process, and you willing to step aside from your comfort zone to just do something totally disruptive to the system is a beautiful thing. So keep up the great work. High five.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well. What's going on? This is your man D here from Grand Move Music Worldwide, Grand Move Worldwide Radio. Welcome to the OMG On My Grind Live interviews. We are here with my brother, JT Thomas. Introduce yourself, my brother.
Thank you for having me first and foremost, D. And yeah, man, JT Thomas, 10-year NFL vet, athlete, entrepreneur. Winding down my career, getting ready for retirement, transitioning. I do consulting. I make things better, people, places, things. So.
All right. So, give us a little background. Where did you get involved in sports, football? Like, just a little background.
Well, we're here in South Florida. This is where I'm from, born and raised, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Not to be confused with Miami. You have Broward County.
Okay.
You have Dade County. So South Florida, born and raised. Grew up in sports, football mostly. Spent some time there at West Virginia. From West Virginia to the Bears, Jags, Giants. So, man, probably spent about 25 years chasing football from youth sports all the way to the league. So.
Okay. All right. So we're down here at the Tackle What's Next event, and Tackle What Next kind of prepares athletes for that transition into life after sports. Talk about why that's important.
Well, I just think is a part of the process of becoming a professional athlete when you do have to give the game up and stand on things outside of your ability to compete. I think we have to understand, what a brand is outside of our actual play, and other things that allow us to benefit and economize who we are, to help us sustain ourselves in the future. And then, we talked about the transition, career development, finding that we're passionate about. I have a nonprofit, as well too. Just things that keep us involved in the communities, things that add value outside of profit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Speak on your nonprofit.
So since I entered the NFL, it makes like 8 years for us as a nonprofit. I always had a youth leadership and development platform there in my hometown, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Specifically for the youth development, try to empower and educate the youth. I have a football camp every year, but obviously with more time nearing retirement here, we hope to do bigger and better things for the community, for the kids.
Awesome. Now on the panel, I just happened to overhear a little bit of your story, and you talked about a discovery that happened around 24, 25 as an adult, that you kind of caught wind of, but it wasn't something that you allowed to hinder your process. Do you mind sharing that?
So for me, and I talked about a plethora of things on the stage, but you start to recognize that, hey, there's a change. I can't do this forever.
Mm-hmm.
I can't sustain this way of living. I can't sustain playing this game forever. And it kind of hits you from a standpoint of, I had an injury, that kind of sat me down for a second. And okay, what do you have outside the ball now? Where does your faith really lie? You know, so that gave me a better understanding of who I was as a person. You know, found faith in things other than football to be engaged with. Got my master's during the time of my injury. So just trying to practice what I preach and staying ready. You know, anytime adversity or changes come in my career.
Awesome. So what's your definition of purpose?
To me, purpose is what you feel like you were put on this earth to do. The thing that you enjoy and are talented enough to excel at. And purpose is just so uniquely different from individual to individual. You know, we see things that have different meanings for things, but there's certain things that don't need explaining, right? Like you have purpose, but then you have like success. You know, two different things, right? Why you were put here compared to succeeding or not succeeding at achieving an aim or a goal. So understanding the difference between the two. But yeah, I think my purpose was put here to help people and make things better.
All right, so do you feel you found your true life purpose? And if it is, what do you think it is?
Yeah, well, once again, I just double down on that, improving things, being a developer of not only brands, people, real estate, property. So just being a developer, making things better, looking for value add opportunities in business, and then in sports, and my persona being someone who motivates people to continuously improve every day.
Right. So you mentioned that you have a consulting firm. Speak on that. Let people know about what that is and what that looks like.
So for me, it's one part investing, one part consulting. I engage with businesses, with people to help them solve business issues from design to delivery. And then on the other end, me just as a person, as an independent contractor, continue to put out material that inspires others to get better every day, putting together manuals and publications and more material for them to understand my message.
Awesome. So what do you think your biggest challenge was to get you here today?
The biggest challenge throughout my career, just getting to the point where you're able to transition from one career to the next, is understanding that letting something go doesn't mean that there's something else greater for you in the future.
Right.
A lot of times we don't realize that we don't know what we don't know. So the biggest challenge is figuring out what it is that you need to learn before opportunities come and go, so you can be a part of them, and not kind of sitting back and letting them pass by.
Word. Well, there was another thing that you had mentioned on the panel I kind of think is really important to kind of draw some emphasis on, because you mentioned that moment. There's that moment that happens that can like redefine everything that your experience is. And you mentioned the Beckham situation. So, and I like the way that you kind of tied that into just like preparation. So, of course our viewers didn't have an opportunity to hear that, but can you speak in that vein in regards to what you were speaking on? Because I think it's very important for people to understand that.
Well, for me, I had an injury during that time, and I would say like my OBJ moment, or the time where I felt like I saw things differently, was that enlightenment from before my NBA and after my NBA while playing. To me, that was my biggest individual accomplishment during my career. Not a Pro Bowl, not those things never manifested, but to be able to get my MBA during a time where I felt like not only was the learning critical, but I needed to accomplish something personally to keep me driven enough to stay in the game. So my changing moment would probably have to be being able to walk across the stage for a second time and get that MBA, not from just a plaque on the wall standpoint. It's from learning, developing and growing as a person.
So I think that is like really admirable. First of all, as a black male, putting emphasis on education and having that educational moment be your defining moment. I think that is something that we definitely need to shed light on, because a lot of times, for our youth, it's all about the sport, right? It's either I'm rapping or I'm playing ball, and this is all I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? But they don't really understand the importance of that preparation academically, because even the transition from high school to college, you got to make an academic change. You know what I mean? And be able to stay on the field, you got to maintain a certain academic prowess, and to be able to transition into the league, you got to have a certain aptitude to be able to understand, the playbook and understand what your role and responsibility is. So just as a black man to another black man, I just want to give tremendous props to you in that accomplishment and putting that emphasis in that, because again, we don't hear that story. And I kind of wanted to, shed some light on that because, again, when I heard it, I thought it was something very impactful that needs to be repeated. We need more brothers like yourself just out here putting like the emphasis on, that knowledge, because, it can't be taken away from you.
Absolutely, man. Education is fundamental, like in life for sure. But like you spoke specifically about our community, education is key. And I think that it's the most important factor in determining success. That distance between what you know and what you don't. And a lot of times, man, these days with so many resources that we have the internet and technology and all kind of things that allow us to learn at a rapid pace.
Right.
So it's like, why not? Why not? You know what I mean? And obviously, right, without us having very many leaders in our community, I mean, being back on the land, like being home for 2 years and being in my community. Mm-hmm. Knowing that most of the dads my age, some of them are in jail, some of them don't understand what responsibility means to take care of a child.
Right.
And all the other things, all the other socioeconomic factors that go into the environment that our youth are raised in. I want to try to do my part. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can't raise every child. I can't fix every problem, but I know just doing my part can encourage someone else too, can inspire one kid, can change it all. So yeah, that's the key, man, to continue to pay it forward.
Awesome, Ken. Real quick, can you tell the people where to follow you on social media and how they can get in contact with you if they're interested in your services?
So JT3 on Instagram, pretty straightforward. And then my nonprofit, I believe it's _JTTF. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, any of those things, man. I'm always conversion, reaching out, follow me out, follow back, kind of thing. So
awesome. Well, thank you for your time, man. Thanks. Shout out Plugstar PR. Shout out Tackling What's Next. I keep saying what's up next, but shout out Tackle What's Next for providing us this opportunity. We work for providing the building. Again, I appreciate you sharing your works and keep up the great work. And if there's anything that we could do on our end to help spread the word, man, definitely reach out. We got you.
Absolutely, stay ready, man.
What's going on? This is D from OMG On My Grind Live Interviews, and we are here with the lovely Danielle Berman of Tackle What's Next. Please introduce yourself to the people and let them know who you are and what you do.
Well, first, thank you for having me. It's great to chat with you, and thank you for being a part of our big day here in Miami during Super Bowl week.
Thank you for having us. It was a true blessing.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, I'm the founder and CEO of Tackle What's Next. Tackle What's Next works to help athletes find their next chapter, help them succeed in life after sports. And so what we really aim to do is bring positive stories, change the narrative, and really avoid that kind of negative stigma of athletes really losing themselves after sports, and instead sharing stories of how athletes have been successful and how they can help other athletes be successful as well.
That's awesome. This is a tremendous platform. It's a tremendous situation to be able to draw awareness to the need of transitional services for athletes. And we've interviewed a couple of the participants, and they've all had wonderful things to say. And we'll have the recap footage for you guys to have. But speak on your purpose. What did you do this for? What drove you to putting together such a wonderful organization?
Yeah, I've just worked with athletes for a while, and they are people just like anybody else. Mm-hmm. And I think I've seen a lot of the negative stories that come out, and people don't necessarily get to know athletes as individuals. They get to know them as athletes.
Right.
And I think really breaking that stereotype and then saying, it's not the, dumb jock or the guy or the girl that's, totally focused on sport and now has to, go work wherever because they can't figure it out. There's athletes doing anything and everything right now as we speak. They're doing well financially. They're in great careers. They've set themselves up for success, and we just don't hear those stories. And so I think that's part of the reason that we're trying to do this is because I personally know athletes that are doing really, truly awesome things.
Awesome.
And that's really why I wanted to start this organization.
Well, wonderful, and I think that was again a beautiful thing. So you have some other events going on around the country?
Yeah.
Can you speak on where else people can find you?
Absolutely. So yeah, we are going to be in Atlanta in April around March Madness. We'll be in LA during All-Star Weekend for baseball and the ESPYs. We'll be in New York. We're going to do some smaller events in different locales as well. But we're also online. We're online at tacklewhatsnext.com. We have Academy where there's resources offered and available, and we're really trying to create that community. So we have athletes all over the country that are excited to work with us and support their fellow athletes wherever they are.
Nice,
Yeah.
awesome. And we're in the WeWork building, and they provided the space, so we've been shouting them out for the interview.
Yeah.
But let me ask you one question about purpose. How did you find your purpose? What was your method into finding your purpose?
Yeah, I think it's been shared a lot today. It's really thinking about what's your why? What gets you out of bed in the morning? And not being afraid to think something is your purpose,
Right.
and then try it and it doesn't work. So this is not my first attempt at starting a business. This is not my first career. This was not my ideal, college path that I was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
I tried things, I failed, I succeeded, I learned, and I think that's how you find your purpose. It's
Absolutely.
really by trial and error, and I think it kind of goes with some of what the athletes were saying today is don't be afraid to fail, and success comes from failing and learning from that. So
Absolutely.
that's really how I think I've come to where I am.
Yeah, we call them L's, and I'd call them learn from life's lessons. Those
I
are
love
the
it.
L's.
Yeah.
It's not failure.
No.
It's just learning from life's lessons. And if you never take the jump to try anything, then nothing will ever happen.
Exactly.
So, and that leads me to my second question in regards to challenges. What were some of your biggest challenges that you had to endure to get here, to get Tackle What's Next to where it's at now?
Such a good question. I think, especially just, even just given my age, it's like I was, I'm 29 years old.
Okay.
And it was a lot of times just being taken seriously as an entrepreneur and really saying, hey, I'm building this, and it's me, it's my brand, it's what I'm doing, and really getting people to take me seriously, not because of how I present myself, but because of my actions. And I think that's really how, I've tried to portray myself is when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. When I help someone, I really want to help them, and it's not necessarily about what they can offer me in return, because I think actions really do speak louder than kind words, as important as those are as well. So I think that's really the biggest challenge I had to overcome, was just finding that confidence to go up to people and say, yep, I'm doing this. And when they say, really, are you sure? You? And I go, absolutely, this is me, this is what I'm doing, and I'm really excited about it. So having that confidence was a learning experience. I had to kind of learn and grow and build that up.
Awesome. So what strategy do you think was your most effective strategy to kind of help you get all of this together?
Yeah, it's networking, communications, and building relationships at the end of the day.
Can you repeat that? Because
Yes.
people need to understand that those three components are met. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, networking, communications, and building relationships. This event wouldn't be here without all of the people that put their name, brand, etc. online to promote it, to encourage me and invite me and connect me with different speakers, sponsors, etc. I don't know enough people to put on an event by myself,
Right.
but with those great connections that I've made, it's really been important to maintain those relationships. And again, that way when you need that favor, you know who to call. You have those relationships, and they're excited to help you because they trust you and they know you. So
Absolutely.
that's
And it
key.
goes back to your end game, which is the completion. It gets done.
Yep.
And having that reputation of knowing, okay, if I do something here, I know I'm going to get results.
Absolutely.
And that matters. Well, let the people know where they can find you, find your brand, and
Absolutely.
share any social media website links.
Absolutely. TackleWhat'sNext.com is the #1 blog. You can find all of our upcoming events, social media handles, everything on there. But on social media, it's really simple. Just at @TackleWhat'sNext on everything. So you can find us there. I'm on Twitter as Danielle Berman Danielle Berman _ So you can find me there.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's it. TackleWhat'sNext.com, I would say, is the best place to get linked up.
Awesome. And thank you again to Tackle What's Next for having us here. Thank you, Plugstar PR, for plugging us in. And this is it, man. And again, it's a beautiful event. Just the energy in the room has been magnificent. The ambiance has been magnificent. Everybody's vibe has just been really good and pleasant and inviting. And I think that you built a beautiful thing, and I wish you continued success, on it and expanding the word, because the fact that the athletes kind of get left in the dark from time to time and don't really know like how to, you know, connect to certain things. Just being able to get resources and information is so vital. It's so vital. So my hat's off to you. I don't have one on, but I want to take it off to you for understanding that need and putting together the effort and energy to fill it. So.
Well, thank you guys for being here today. Thanks for taking part in it, and I look forward to continuing to work together in the future.
Awesome. Let's make it happen.
I love it. Thank you so much.
All right.